So Netflix and Warner Brothers are on the verge of merging, and with that, we are officially in the two-part season finale of the studio. I have a lot of thoughts on this merger, specifically confusion, but what this means is that we've officially stepped on a slippery slope that could result in the end of the theatrical experience as we know it. And I really want to touch on the irony of this situation because every year for the last few years, I've been going to CinemaCon, and every year I see those studio heads get up on that stage and they release their slate of films and say that we need to preserve the theater experience, how the movies belong in the movies. Well, judging by this morning, this photo that I took just this April has gotten really awkward for me now. For those of you guys who haven't watched the studio with Seth Rogen done by Apple TV, consider this your spoiler warning for the two-part season finale. In those episodes, Seth Rogen and his studio is under danger of being bought by Amazon, so they have to have a killer CinemaCon presentation to save their jobs and save the studio. And here we are with Netflix and Warner Brothers. Life imitating art or the other way around, I don't know. Netflix head Ted Sarandos did try to quell a lot of fears, but what he says and how he says it does have me a little bit anxious. I wouldn't look at this as a change in approach for Netflix movies or Warner's movies for that matter. I think over time the windows will evolve to be much more consumer friendly. I don't know about you guys, but every time I hear someone say consumer friendly, it just makes me itch. To meet the audience where they are, all those things we'd like to do. What happens when you decide that the audiences are mostly at home? But I say that right now, you should count on everything that has planned on going to theaters through Warner Brothers will continue to go to theaters through Warner Brothers. Notice how he said that everything planned to go through. So what happens when those movies are done and the new crop of movies come in? Where will those movies go? Now, Netflix has put movies in theaters before. They've actually had quite a successful run with K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along event. But for the most part, they usually have a very short window of just a couple of weeks, mostly for their awards campaigns. What does this mean for the bigger IP movies that are coming further down the line? I'm talking about the DC Studios movies, specifically the Batman Part 2. Shorter theatrical windows means less money for the movie theaters, which means a lot of movie theaters are going to go out of business. Now, I'm just a guy who enjoys movies, right? So I'm not going to get into the minutia of every in and out of the deal, but I'm just going to speak to this from an audience standpoint. Warner Brothers has had a very successful year this year between Weapons, One Battle After Another, and Sinners, and you would think having that success, why would you want to sell your company? Ted Sarandos has said straight up that shorter release windows are not really consumer friendly. But what I'm thinking is, why can't you have both? Going back to the Apple TV of it all, and I don't know like the ins and outs of Apple TV, but it seems like they got it right because F1 made over $600 million at the box office and a long theatrical run, and it's an Apple original film. I don't know, man. I'm just someone who really wants to see the theatrical experience live on and strong, but it's very nervous right now. I'm very nervous.